Hey everyone, welcome back to SportsBanter. I'm today's host, I guess, of this March Madness video. My name is Luca. I'm here with the usual boys, Bryce and Calvin. And yeah, the last time we talked about it, it was still in the round of 64 and the round of 32. Now we're going over the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight.
Might I add, we now
Let's
have
start.
Calvin for this one
Oh, we now have
because
Calvin for
I
the
guess
first
he
March
only
Madness
shows
video
up
because
for the Sweet 16 and anything closer.
he, he's a big game player. He
That's
shows
what I'm
up when
trying
it
to get.
matters.
Yeah.
Let's start up in the west side of things. In the Sweet 16, we had number one seeded Gonzaga scoring 83 points against fifth seeded Creighton, um, who scored 65 points. Good on Creighton to score 65 points, but it wasn't too competitive. Gonzaga sort of ran away with it at the end. Um, so on the other side of the West, we had in the Sweet 16 Oregon, the seventh seed, going against the sixth seed USC. USC got the job done against Oregon, sadly, 82-68. And that leads into the Elite Eight game of Gonzaga versus USC. And of course, the first seed, Gonzaga, beat USC 85-66. Um, Usual stuff, Gonzaga's in the Final Four. What do y'all have to say about Gonzaga making it to the Final Four and the west side of the bracket?
I mean, all right, this is pretty much what everyone's been saying since the brackets were announced. But man, Gonzaga's not sweating here. They are beating teams relatively with ease. So I'm not surprised they made it to the Final Four. But obviously, you're gonna get to it. But their opponent is what's more surprising.
Yeah. Calvin, anything from you?
No.
No. Calvin sadly chose against the Gonzaga ways in his brackets, but we'll get into our personal brackets at the end. Since Bryce brought it up, let's just go straight to the East, switch it up a little bit. What happened in the East in the Sweet 16 was first seeded Michigan beat fourth seeded Florida State 76-58. Florida State looked to be on a decent run here, and I think this game should have been closer than what it really was. Michigan was looking pretty good there. Down the other side of the East in the Sweet 16 was UCLA, 11th seed, beat two-seeded Alabama, 88-78. I love this. I'm not a huge fan of UCLA, but this was awesome seeing because a lot of people I've heard saying, "Oh, Alabama's can make that Final Four. Alabama can make it in the final. Alabama's good." No, they're not. No offense to y'all. No offense to you and Calvin, Bryce, or Bryce and Calvin, whatever. I saw LSU almost beating Alabama in that SEC conference championship, and I was like, "Oh man, if LSU can bring Alabama all this way, Alabama can't be that great." And I think it is a miracle run from UCLA, but Alabama's just in the mud here. Moving on to the Elite Eight game in the East Division, UCLA again beat Michigan, who is in the top seed, 51-49. Michigan missing a last-second shot. It wasn't the best shot in the world, and it was in a weird angle, so I wasn't really expecting him to score it, in my opinion. But I bet every single diehard Michigan fan was screaming at their TVs. Um, but awesome run from UCLA. Can they keep on being the giant killer going against Gonzaga? Maybe. I'll botch that. Do y'all have anything to say about the east side of things?
I don't think. Okay, so I don't think Alabama's as bad as you think Alabama is, Luca. Um,
Yeah.
I personally disagree with that statement. I do think that UCLA is on a freaking miracle run. If there ever was one. I mean, I know Oral Roberts is probably going to get the credit for being the miracle run of March Madness, but UCLA is kind of close up there. And
Mm-hmm.
do I see them taking down Gonzaga? No, not a chance.
I don't see them either. Galvin, anything from you on the east side of things?
Go UCLA's.
All right, yeah.
Lonzo's college.
Now moving Now moving to the South, my home. Starting in the Sweet 16, we had, to me, a big match here between top seeded Baylor going against fifth seeded Villanova. I had Villanova winning this game, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, and that did not happen. Baylor took care of business, 62-51. Was sort of close, but I mean, given the seeding, Baylor probably could have scored a few more points on them. On the other side for the Sweet 16, we had Arkansas sadly destroying the miracle run of Oral Roberts, 72-70. The 15th seeded team, Oral Roberts, almost had it done, almost had the job done, but it's not done to the final second, and Arkansas kept holding on, and they won. And in that Elite Eight game in the South, it was between Baylor and Arkansas, and it finished how it should have finished. Baylor winning 81-72. They're the better team. No disrespect to Arkansas. Arkansas's not they've won the games they've needed to win, and they lost to the team that they should lose to. So Arkansas just did their job, and Baylor's doing their job as well. So Baylor cashes their ticket into the Final Four. Um, I know, Bryce, you picked Villanova to beat Baylor as well.
Yep.
Calvin, did you
Pick Baylor?
pick Villanova to beat Baylor, or you picked Baylor?
Oh, no, I picked Baylor to make it to the Final Four.
Fair, yeah. I freaking had Ohio State.
Oh,
That's
wait.
the one thing.
Hold
I
on,
don't
hold
like
on, hold
about
on. That might have been my other bracket. Nope. Yeah, I had Baylor going all the way in
Calvin,
both to the Final
okay.
Four.
Mr.
Gotcha,
Two
yeah.
brackets over here.
Moving into the final section of the bracket, we got the Midwest. In the Sweet 16, we had something tragic happen.
Yeah. I was depressed.
Chicago. You beat my boys at Georgia Tech. You got to go through. You got to go far. You beat Illinois 71-58. Chicago, I might cut a promo on y'all because this is horrible. You let Oregon State beat you 65-58. It's not even the fact that Oregon State's 12th seeded. It's Oregon State. Now, don't get this wrong. I think Oregon State's run is going to be understated. They beat Tennessee. They beat Oklahoma State. And they beat Loyola-Chicago. Those are three teams they should have all lost to. So I do give them a drip of respect, but I just don't like them. Nothing against the players. I just don't like the college. On the other side of the Sweet 16, we had Houston beating Syracuse 62-46. That should have happened. It did happen. And speaking of things that should have happened, it did happen. And that final Elite Eight game between Houston and Oregon State, Houston got the job done against the overachievers in Oregon State, 67-61. Was close. And if Oregon State beat Houston, I think Oregon State's obviously the miracle team of the decade. Or not decade, of the tournament. Well, UCLA is up there too. But they didn't win. Houston has gotten into the Final Four. Before we get into our own brackets, who do y'all have winning each Final Four game? It's Gonzaga versus UCLA and Baylor versus Houston.
Well, the matchup I want, UCLA and Houston, is probably the opposite of what's going to happen. I think Zaga and Baylor are both moving on to the Final Four.
I pretty much agree with you. I hope it's UCLA Houston. I think that would be fun. Not because they're both lower ranking teams. I think that would be the most fun game, but I think it'll be Gonzaga Houston is the more likely thing. And that's what I predicted as well.
I think it's going to be Gonzaga versus Baylor. Just because I think Baylor's,
that's fair.
they've had more, I guess they've had more kind of assertive wins over their opponents. Like Houston almost lost to Rutgers in the round of 32. So maybe in that game they were showing a little bit of cracks, and that could be what really helps them to lose in the Final Four.
That's fair. Going into our own personal brackets, I'm number one right now with a 70-point lead, and I still have the most max points in our league. I've got Gonzaga winning. I think I've almost clinched. I'm confident I have, but I could be completely wrong. Calvin, the whole storyline with our personal brackets, it has to be all on Calvin. Just tell the audience what's happened with you.
So when I went into this bracket, I was determined that I would not pick Gonzaga. We didn't tell each other who we were picking before we picked the brackets. I mean, I kind of knew that Luca and Bryce were both going to pick Gonzaga, but I was like determined not to pick Gonzaga. So I had them go out in the round of 32. And despite doing that stupid decision, I was leading the bracket up until the round of the Elite Eight. And if it wasn't for the fact that Michigan got knocked out in the Elite Eight, I would still be leading the bracket right now. However, Michigan got knocked out, and now I'm 70 points below Luca.
Yeah. Bryce, what do you want to
we
say?
don't need to
Bottom
talk
of the
about
barrel.
we don't need to talk about my bracket. Okay, it's awful. There was a lot of bad decisions made with this bracket. Villanova was my final two. That didn't work. Freaking thank you, Baylor. And then my Midwest was just a mess. And also my South was kind of a mess too, in terms of picks. That Midwest, though, kind of just messed me up. The whole Loyola-Chicago thing, wasn't ready for that.
Same, yeah.
I wasn't ready for Syracuse either. Shoot.
But yeah, that's everything for me. I'm excited for these Final Fours. I'm excited for the championship. Anything else from you two?
Nope.
Take that as a no.
That's a no.
Yeah, it's a no. All right. Thank you, everyone watching the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment y'all's opinions, what we can do to be better human beings for this world. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and we'll see y'all later.